March, General, Short Notes. RM4251 Research Methodologies for Built Environment. 6th March 2023. Research Methodologies for Built Environment. Give introduction to the importance of critical inquiry as a way of gaining knowledge and adding to it through research. Critical inquiry is a process of questioning, analyzing, and evaluating information in order to develop a deeper understanding of a topic or issue. It involves using reasoning, evidence, and logical thinking to examine assumptions, explore alternative perspectives, and arrive at well-informed conclusions. Critical inquiry is essential for gaining knowledge and adding to it through research because it helps us to avoid accepting information at face value, and to instead question and challenge ideas in order to arrive at a more accurate and complete understanding. By engaging in critical inquiry, we can identify gaps in our knowledge, evaluate the validity of claims, and develop new insights and perspectives. Through research, we can use critical inquiry to explore new areas of knowledge, test hypotheses, and uncover new facts and evidence. Research can involve a variety of methods, including observation, experimentation, surveys, interviews, and analysis of existing data. By engaging in research, we can add to our understanding of a topic or issue, and contribute to the development of new knowledge. Overall, critical inquiry and research are important for advancing knowledge in a variety of fields, and for helping us to better understand the world around us. By using these tools, we can make more informed decisions, develop new insights, and contribute to the ongoing development of human knowledge. Give exposure to various forms of research and research methodologies processes. There are various forms of research and research methodologies or processes, which can be broadly classified into qualitative and quantitative research. Here are some examples of each. Qualitative research. Ethnography. This type of research involves the in-depth study of a culture or community, typically through fieldwork and participant observation. Case study. This research involves an in-depth analysis of a specific individual, group, or organization, typically using multiple data sources. Grounded theory. This type of research involves developing a theory based on the data collected, rather than starting with a pre-existing theory. Phenomenology. This research focuses on exploring people's subjective experiences of a phenomenon or event. Content analysis. This research involves analyzing written or visual material, such as books, movies, or advertisements, to uncover themes or patterns. Quantitative research. Survey research. This research involves collecting data through questionnaires or interviews, typically from a large sample of individuals. Experimental research. This type of research involves manipulating one or more variables to determine their effect on an outcome, typically in a controlled environment. Correlational research. This research involves examining the relationship between two or more variables, typically through statistical analysis. Longitudinal research. This type of research involves collecting data from the same individuals over an extended period of time, in order to track changes or trends. Meta-analysis. This research involves analyzing data from multiple studies on a particular topic, in order to draw broader conclusions. Regardless of the type of research or methodology used, all research should involve a clear research question or hypothesis, a systematic and rigorous approach to data collection and analysis, and an ethical consideration of the implications of the research. Understand research in the specific domain of built environment research. Built environment research is an interdisciplinary field that focuses on the study of the physical, social, and environmental aspects of the built environment. It includes the study of buildings, infrastructure, public spaces, and neighborhoods, and seeks to understand the impact of these environments on human behavior, health, and well-being. Research in the built environment can take various forms, including Building performance evaluation. This research involves the assessment of the energy efficiency, environmental performance, and user satisfaction of buildings in order to identify areas for improvement and inform design decisions. Urban design and planning. This research focuses on the design and planning of cities and neighborhoods with an emphasis on creating sustainable, livable, and healthy environments. Transportation planning. This research explores how transportation systems impact the built environment and the people who use them, and seeks to identify ways to create more sustainable and efficient transportation systems. Environmental psychology. This research focuses on how the built environment affects human behavior and well-being, and seeks to identify ways to design environments that promote health, well-being, and productivity. Housing research. This research focuses on the study of housing markets, housing policies, and the design of affordable and sustainable housing. In addition to these specific areas of research, built environment research often involves collaboration between architects, engineers, planners, environmental scientists, and social scientists, among others. It may also involve the use of various research methodologies, including qualitative and quantitative research, case studies, surveys, and experimental designs. Overall, research in the built environment is important for understanding how the physical environment affects human behavior and well-being, and for identifying ways to create more sustainable, livable, and healthy communities. Introduction to basic research issues and concepts. Orientation to research process. Research is a systematic and structured approach to gaining knowledge and understanding of a particular topic or issue. It involves identifying a research question or hypothesis, collecting and analyzing data, and drawing conclusions based on the findings. There are several key issues and concepts that are important to consider in the research process. Research question or hypothesis. A research question is a clear and concise statement that defines the topic or issue that will be studied. A hypothesis is a proposed explanation for a phenomenon, which will be tested through the research. Research design. The research design refers to the overall strategy or plan for conducting the research, including the methods and techniques that will be used to collect and analyze data. Sampling. Sampling involves selecting a representative subset of individuals or cases from a larger population in order to make inferences about the population as a whole. Data collection. Data can be collected through a variety of methods, including surveys, interviews, observation, and experimentation. Data analysis. Data analysis involves organizing, summarizing, and interpreting the data that has been collected in order to draw meaningful conclusions. Ethics. Ethical considerations are an important part of the research process and include issues such as informed consent, privacy, and confidentiality. The research process typically involves the following steps. Define the research question or hypothesis. Gaining knowledge and adding to it through research. Conduct a review of the existing literature on the topic. Develop a research design and select appropriate methods for data collection. Collect and analyze the data. Draw conclusions based on the findings. Communicate the results through a research report or publication. Overall, research is an important tool for advancing knowledge and understanding in a particular field or topic, and requires careful planning and attention to the issues and concepts involved in the research process. Types of research: historical, qualitative, correlational, experimental, stimulation and modeling, logical argumentation, case study, and mixed methods. Yes, there are various types of research methodologies used in different fields. Here is an overview of some of the most common types. Historical research. This type of research involves studying past events or phenomena in order to gain a better understanding of their significance and impact on the present. Qualitative research. this type of research focuses on understanding people's experiences, beliefs, and behaviors, typically through interviews, observations, and analysis of written or visual material. Correlational research. This type of research involves examining the relationship between two or more variables, typically through statistical analysis, to determine if there is a correlation between them. Experimental research. This type of research involves manipulating one or more variables in a controlled environment to determine their effect on an outcome. Simulation and modeling research. This type of research involves the use of computer programs and simulations to explore the behavior of complex systems, such as weather patterns or traffic flow. Logical argumentation research. This type of research involves constructing logical arguments based on theoretical or conceptual frameworks, typically in the fields of philosophy or theoretical physics. Case study research. This type of research involves in-depth analysis of a specific individual, group, or organization, typically using multiple data sources. Mixed methods research. This type of research involves combining different research methodologies, such as quantitative and qualitative research, to gain a more comprehensive understanding of a particular phenomenon or issue. Each of these research methodologies has its own strengths and limitations, and the choice of methodology will depend on the research question, the available resources, and the goals of the research project. Using research samples including research in the domain of built environment. Research samples are subsets of a larger population that are selected for the purpose of conducting research. In built environment research, samples may include buildings, neighborhoods, or individuals who live or work in a particular built environment. For example, in a study of building performance evaluation, researchers may select a sample of buildings to study, based on factors such as age, size, location, and use. The selected buildings may then be monitored and assessed for factors such as energy consumption, indoor air quality, and user satisfaction, in order to identify areas for improvement and inform design decisions. Similarly, in a study of housing research, researchers may select a sample of individuals or households who live in a particular type of housing, such as affordable housing or sustainable housing. These individuals may then be surveyed or interviewed about their experiences and perceptions of the housing, in order to identify strengths and weaknesses of the housing design and inform policy decisions. In built environment research, it is important to ensure that research samples are representative of the larger population, in order to ensure that findings can be generalized to a wider context. This may involve selecting samples that are diverse in terms of demographic characteristics, such as age, gender, and socioeconomic status, or that represent a range of building types or locations. Overall, research samples are an important tool for conducting rigorous and meaningful research in the domain of built environment, and can help to provide insights into the ways in which the built environment affects human behavior, health, and well-being. Researching and data collection. Library and archives. Library and archives are important resources for conducting research and collecting data in a variety of fields, including the built environment. Here are some key considerations for using library and archives resources in research. Developing a research question. Before using library and archives resources, it is important to develop a clear research question or hypothesis. This will help you to identify relevant resources and sources of information. Identifying relevant sources. Once you have a research question, you can begin to identify relevant sources of information. This may involve searching library catalogs, databases, and archives for books, articles, and other materials that relate to your topic. Conducting research. Once you have identified relevant sources, you can begin to conduct your research. This may involve reading and analyzing books and articles, examining maps and other documents, or reviewing photographs and other visual materials. Taking notes. As you conduct your research, it is important to take detailed notes on the sources you are using and the information you are gathering. This will help you to organize your thoughts and ideas and to keep track of the sources you are using. Citing sources. When using library and archives resources, it is important to cite your sources properly. This will help you to avoid plagiarism and to give credit to the authors and creators of the materials you are using. Overall, library and archives resources are valuable tools for conducting research and collecting data in the built environment. They can provide valuable historical and contextual information, as well as insights into the design and construction of buildings and other built environments. By using these resources effectively, researchers can gain a deeper understanding of the built environment and its impact on human behavior, health, and well-being. Research and data collecting Internet, new information, and the role of Internet. The Internet has revolutionized the way that research is conducted and data is collected in virtually all fields, including the built environment. Here are some key ways in which the Internet has impacted research and data collection. Access to new information. The Internet provides researchers with access to vast amounts of information that was previously unavailable or difficult to access. This includes online databases, academic journals, and other sources of information that can be accessed from anywhere in the world. Speed and efficiency. The Internet allows researchers to conduct research and collect data more quickly and efficiently than ever before. For example, online surveys can be distributed and completed in a matter of hours or days, rather than weeks or months. Collaboration and sharing. The Internet makes it easier for researchers to collaborate with one another and to share data and findings. This can help to speed up the research process and to ensure that findings are more widely disseminated. Data visualization. The Internet provides researchers with powerful tools for visualizing and analyzing data, such as interactive maps and graphs. This can help to identify patterns and trends in data that might not be immediately apparent from raw data. Challenges of data quality and reliability. With the vast amount of information available on the Internet, it is important for researchers to carefully evaluate the quality and reliability of the sources they are using. This can be especially challenging in fields like the built environment, where there may be a wide range of opinions and perspectives on a given topic. Overall, the Internet has greatly expanded the possibilities for research and data collection in the built environment, while also presenting new challenges and considerations for researchers. By using the Internet effectively and critically evaluating the sources they are using, researchers can gain valuable insights into the ways in which the built environment affects human behavior, health, and well-being. Research and data collection. Finding and evaluating sources. Finding and evaluating sources is a critical aspect of research and data collection in the built environment. Here are some key steps to consider when finding and evaluating sources. Identify relevant keywords and search terms. Before you begin your search for sources, it is important to identify relevant keywords and search terms that will help you to find relevant information. This may involve brainstorming a list of terms related to your research question or hypothesis. Use appropriate search tools. There are a variety of search tools that can be used to find sources related to the built environment, including library catalogs, online databases, and search engines like Google Scholar. It is important to choose the appropriate tools for your research question and to use them effectively. Evaluate sources for relevance. Once you have identified potential sources, it is important to evaluate them for relevance to your research question. This may involve scanning the abstract, introduction, and conclusion of an article or book, or reviewing the table of contents or index to determine whether the source addresses your research question. Evaluate sources for reliability. In addition to evaluating sources for relevance, it is important to evaluate them for reliability. This may involve considering the author's credentials, the publisher or source of the information, and any potential biases or conflicts of interest that may affect the information presented in the source. Document your sources. When you have identified relevant and reliable sources, it is important to document them properly. This may involve creating a bibliography or reference list that includes the author, title, publisher, and other relevant information for each source. Overall, finding and evaluating sources is a critical aspect of research and data collection in the built environment. By using appropriate search tools, evaluating sources for relevance and reliability, and documenting your sources properly, you can ensure that your research is based on high quality and reliable information. Research and data collection misuse. Test for reliability. Ethics. Research and data collection can be a powerful tool for gaining knowledge and understanding in the built environment. However, it is important to be aware of potential issues related to misuse, reliability, and ethics. Here are some key considerations. Misuse. Research and data collection can be misused in a variety of ways. For example, data can be manipulated or falsified to support a particular agenda or viewpoint, or research can be conducted without proper ethical oversight. It is important to be aware of these potential issues and to take steps to ensure that research and data collection are conducted in an ethical and transparent manner. Test for reliability. To ensure that research is reliable, it is important to use appropriate research methodologies and to collect and analyze data in a systematic and rigorous way. This may involve using statistical methods to analyze data, or conducting experiments or surveys that are designed to control for potential confounding variables. It is also important to use appropriate sample sizes and to ensure that data collection methods are consistent and reliable. Ethics. Research and data collection in the built environment must be conducted in an ethical manner. This may involve obtaining informed consent from participants, protecting the privacy and confidentiality of participants, and ensuring that research is conducted in a manner that is respectful and culturally sensitive. It is also important to be aware of potential biases or conflicts of interest that may affect the research, and to disclose any such conflicts of interest to ensure transparency. In conclusion, research and data collection can be powerful tools for gaining knowledge and understanding in the built environment. However, it is important to be aware of potential issues related to misuse, reliability, and ethics, and to take steps to ensure that research is conducted in an ethical and transparent manner. By doing so, we can ensure that research and data collection are used to further our understanding of the built environment and to promote positive outcomes for individuals and communities. Methods of data collection. Primary sources. Primary sources are original sources of data that are collected first-hand by researchers themselves. Here are some common methods of primary data collection in the built environment. Surveys. Surveys are a common method of primary data collection in the built environment. Surveys involve asking a set of standardized questions to a sample of participants in order to gather information on a particular topic. Surveys can be conducted in a variety of formats, including online surveys, mail surveys, and in-person surveys. Interviews. Interviews involve conducting one-on-one conversations with participants in order to gather information on a particular topic. Interviews can be structured or unstructured, and can be conducted in person or over the phone. Observations. Observations involve observing and recording behaviors or events in a particular environment. This can involve taking notes on the physical environment or the behavior of individuals in the environment. Experiments. Experiments involve manipulating a particular variable in order to observe the effects on a particular outcome. For example, an experiment in the built environment might involve manipulating lighting conditions in a particular room to observe the effects on productivity or mood. Case studies. Case studies involve in-depth analysis of a particular case or situation. This might involve analyzing data on a particular building or community in order to gain insights into its design, use, or impact. Overall, primary data collection methods can be a powerful tool for gaining insights into the built environment. By collecting data firsthand, researchers can ensure that the data is tailored to their specific research question and can control for potential confounding variables. However, primary data collection methods can be time-consuming and expensive, and may require specialized skills and training. Methods of data collection: primary sources, observation and recording. Observation and recording is a common method of primary data collection in the built environment. It involves observing and recording behaviors or events in a particular environment in order to gather information on a particular topic. Here are some key considerations when using observation and recording as a method of data collection. Setting. The setting in which the observation takes place is important. Researchers must carefully choose a setting that is relevant to their research question and that provides opportunities for meaningful observation. For example, if a researcher is interested in the impact of green spaces on mental health, they might choose to observe a public park or garden. Data recording. Researchers must carefully record data during the observation. This might involve taking notes on the physical environment or the behavior of individuals in the environment. Researchers must ensure that they record data in a systematic and consistent manner in order to ensure that the data is reliable. Observer bias. Observer bias can occur when researchers bring their own biases or expectations to the observation. To minimize observer bias, researchers must carefully define their research question and use standardized observation protocols. Researchers might also consider having multiple observers record data independently in order to ensure that the data is not influenced by individual biases. Ethics. Researchers must ensure that their observation and recording methods are ethical. This might involve obtaining informed consent from participants or ensuring that the observation does not violate privacy or confidentiality. Researchers must also ensure that they are respectful and culturally sensitive in their observation and recording methods. Overall, observation and recording can be a powerful method of primary data collection in the built environment. By carefully selecting a relevant setting and recording data in a systematic and consistent manner, researchers can gain valuable insights into the behavior and impact of the built environment. Methods of data collection: primary sources, interviews, structured and unstructured. Interviews are a common method of primary data collection in the built environment. There are two main types of interviews: structured and unstructured. Structured interviews. Structured interviews involve asking a set of standardized questions to all participants in order to gather information on a particular topic. The questions are usually predetermined and are asked in a specific order. Structured interviews are useful when researchers want to gather specific information from participants and compare responses across participants. They are also useful when researchers want to quantify responses in order to perform statistical analysis. Unstructured interviews. Unstructured interviews involve open-ended questions that allow participants to freely express their thoughts and feelings about a particular topic. Unlike structured interviews, there is no set list of questions, and the interview may take on a conversational tone. Unstructured interviews are useful when researchers want to gather in-depth information about a particular topic or when the research question is exploratory in nature. Unstructured interviews allow participants to share their perspectives and experiences in their own words, providing rich and detailed data. Here are some key considerations when using interviews as a method of data collection. Participant selection. researchers must carefully select participants who are relevant to their research question and who have knowledge or experience related to the topic being studied. Participants may be selected through random sampling, convenience sampling, or snowball sampling. Data recording. Researchers must record data during the interview. This might involve taking notes, recording the interview, or using transcription software. Researchers must ensure that they record data accurately and completely in order to ensure that the data is reliable. Ethics. Researchers must ensure that their interview methods are ethical. This might involve obtaining informed consent from participants or ensuring that the interview does not violate privacy or confidentiality. Researchers must also ensure that they are respectful and culturally sensitive in their interview methods. Overall, interviews can be a powerful method of primary data collection in the built environment. By carefully selecting participants and recording data accurately, researchers can gain valuable insights into the perspectives and experiences of individuals related to the built environment. Whether using structured or unstructured interviews, it is important to carefully consider the research question and select the interview format that will provide the most relevant and useful data. Methods of data collection. Primary sources. Questionnaire. Questionnaires are a common method of primary data collection in the built environment. They involve a set of questions that are distributed to a group of participants in order to gather information on a particular topic. Questionnaires can be administered in a variety of formats, including online surveys, paper surveys, or phone interviews. Here are some key considerations when using questionnaires as a method of data collection. Question design. Researchers must carefully design the questions in the questionnaire. The questions should be clear and concise, and should be relevant to the research question. Researchers should also ensure that the questions are free from bias and are not leading participants to a particular response. Participant selection. Researchers must carefully select participants who are relevant to their research question and who have knowledge or experience related to the topic being studied. Participants may be selected through random sampling, convenience sampling, or snowball sampling. Data recording. Researchers must record data from the questionnaires. This might involve entering data into a spreadsheet or using software to analyze the data. Researchers must ensure that they record data accurately and completely in order to ensure that the data is reliable. Ethics. Researchers must ensure that their questionnaire methods are ethical. This might involve obtaining informed consent from participants or ensuring that the questionnaire does not violate privacy or confidentiality. Researchers must also ensure that they are respectful and culturally sensitive in their questionnaire methods. Overall, questionnaires can be a powerful method of primary data collection in the built environment. By carefully designing questions and selecting participants, researchers can gather valuable information from a large group of individuals. Whether administering the questionnaire online or in person, it is important to carefully consider the research question and design a questionnaire that will provide the most relevant and useful data. Methods of data collection. Primary sources. Questionnaire, open-ended and close-ended questions, and the advantages. Sampling. Questionnaires are a common method of primary data collection in the built environment. They involve a set of questions that are distributed to a group of participants in order to gather information on a particular topic. Questionnaires can contain open-ended questions, closed-ended questions, or a combination of both. Open-ended questions. Open-ended questions allow participants to provide a detailed response in their own words. These questions can be used to gain in-depth information on a particular topic and to explore participants' thoughts and opinions. Open-ended questions are useful when researchers want to gather rich and detailed data. Closed-ended questions. Closed-ended questions provide participants with a set of response options to choose from. These questions are useful when researchers want to quantify responses in order to perform statistical analysis. Closed-ended questions are useful when researchers want to gather specific information from participants and compare responses across participants. Here are some advantages of using questionnaires as a method of data collection. Cost-effective. Questionnaires can be distributed to a large number of participants at a relatively low cost, making them a cost-effective method of data collection. Efficient. Questionnaires can be distributed and completed quickly, making them an efficient method of data collection. Standardization. Questionnaires allow researchers to standardize the questions and responses, making it easier to compare responses across participants. Anonymity. Questionnaires can be completed anonymously, which can encourage participants to be more honest in their responses. Sampling. Questionnaires allow researchers to use various sampling methods to ensure that participants are representative of the population being studied. Overall, questionnaires can be a powerful method of primary data collection in the built environment. Whether using open-ended or closed-ended questions, it is important to carefully consider the research question and design a questionnaire that will provide the most relevant and useful data. Sampling methods should also be carefully considered to ensure that participants are representative of the population being studied. Methods of collecting data from secondary sources. Secondary data collection involves gathering data from existing sources, such as government reports, books, journal articles, and other published materials. Here are some common methods of collecting data from secondary sources. Literature review. A literature review involves searching for and analyzing existing research studies and other published materials related to a particular topic. Literature reviews can be a valuable method of secondary data collection in the built environment, as they can provide an overview of the current state of research on a particular topic. Document analysis. Document analysis involves analyzing existing documents, such as reports, plans, and other written materials related to the built environment. This method can be particularly useful for analyzing policies and regulations related to the built environment. Data mining. Data mining involves using specialized software to extract data from large datasets, such as those available through government agencies or other organizations. This method can be useful for identifying patterns and trends in data related to the built environment. Meta-analysis. Meta-analysis involves analyzing data from multiple studies to draw conclusions and make recommendations. This method can be particularly useful for synthesizing data related to the effectiveness of interventions or policies related to the built environment. When collecting data from secondary sources, it is important to ensure that the data is reliable and valid. Researchers should carefully evaluate the quality of the sources they use and consider the potential for bias in the data. It is also important to properly cite and reference any sources used in the research. Elements of research process. Finding a topic. Finding a topic is the first step in the research process. It involves identifying a research question or problem that is interesting, important, and feasible to study. Here are some key elements to consider when finding a research topic. Identify a general area of interest. Start by identifying a general area of interest within the built environment, such as sustainable design, urban planning, or historic preservation. This will help narrow down potential research topics. Review the literature. Conducting a literature review can help identify gaps in knowledge and potential research questions. Look for recent publications in relevant journals, books, and government reports. Consider practical applications. Think about how the research topic could be applied in practice. For example, could the research results be used to inform policy decisions, design guidelines, or construction practices? Evaluate feasibility. consider the feasibility of the research topic in terms of time, resources, and access to data. Can the research question be answered with available resources and data? Will the research require extensive fieldwork or specialized equipment? Refine the research question. Once a general area of interest has been identified and reviewed, refine the research question to ensure that it is specific, focused, and answerable through research methods. Overall, finding a research topic requires careful consideration of the research question or problem, the relevance and practical applications of the topic, and the feasibility of conducting research on the topic. Elements of research process, writing and introduction. The introduction is a critical component of the research process as it sets the stage for the entire study. The introduction should provide background information on the research topic, identify the research question or problem, and explain the significance of the research. Here are some key elements to consider when writing an introduction. Start with a hook. Begin the introduction with a hook that captures the reader's attention and makes them interested in the research topic. This could be a surprising statistic, an anecdote, or a thought-provoking question. Provide background information. Provide background information on the research topic, including relevant historical, social, or political context that helps readers understand the significance of the research question or problem. Identify the research question or problem. Clearly state the research question or problem that the study seeks to address. This should be specific, focused, and answerable through research methods. Explain the significance of the research. Explain why the research question or problem is important and how the study will contribute to existing knowledge in the field. This could include identifying gaps in existing research, practical applications of the research findings, or theoretical implications of the study. Preview the research methods. Provide a brief overview of the research methods that will be used to address the research question or problem. This can help readers understand the scope and approach of the study. Design a questionnaire that will provide the most relevant and useful data. Sampling methods should also be carefully considered to ensure that participants are representative of the population being studied. Overall, the introduction should engage the reader, provide background information, identify the research question or problem, explain the significance of the research, and preview the research methods. The introduction should be concise, clear, and well organized, setting the stage for the rest of the study. Elements of research process, stating a purpose of study. Stating the purpose of the study is a critical component of the research process as it provides a clear and specific statement of the goals and objectives of the research. Here are some key elements to consider when stating the purpose of a study. Identify the main research question. The purpose of the study should be based on the research question or problem identified in the introduction. The main research question should be specific, focused, and answerable through research methods. Clarify the objectives of the study. The purpose of the study should clearly articulate the objectives of the research, which are the specific goals that the study aims to achieve. Objectives should be measurable and clearly stated. Identify the scope and limitations of the study. The purpose of the study should identify the scope and limitations of the research, which defines the boundaries of the study. This includes identifying the population or sample, the research methods, and any constraints or limitations on the study. Justify the importance of the study. The purpose of the study should explain the importance of the research, which includes the potential practical applications, theoretical implications, or contributions to existing knowledge in the field. Use clear and concise language. The purpose of the study should be written in clear and concise language that is easy to understand. Avoid using technical jargon or complex terminology that may be difficult for readers to follow. Overall, stating the purpose of the study is an important element of the research process that helps define the goals and objectives of the research, identify the scope and limitations of the study, justify the importance of the research, and use clear and concise language to communicate these elements to readers. Elements of research process: identifying key research questions and hypotheses. Identifying key research questions and hypotheses is a critical element of the research process, as it helps to clarify the specific goals and objectives of the study. Here are some key elements to consider when identifying key research questions and hypotheses. Start with a general research question. Begin by identifying a general research question that reflects the overall goal of the study. This question should be broad and open-ended, and should help to guide the development of more specific research questions. Develop specific research questions. Based on the general research question, develop specific research questions that focus on particular aspects of the topic. These questions should be specific, focused, and answerable through research methods. Use hypotheses to guide research. Develop hypotheses that help to guide the research process by making specific predictions about the relationship between variables. Hypotheses should be based on existing theory or research, and should be testable through research methods. Ensure research questions and hypotheses are aligned. Make sure that the research questions and hypotheses are aligned with each other, and with the overall goals and objectives of the study. This helps to ensure that the research is focused and well structured. Revise and refine research questions and hypotheses as needed. As the research progresses, it may be necessary to revise and refine the research questions and hypotheses. This may involve modifying the focus of the study, changing the research methods, or adjusting the hypotheses based on the results of the research. Overall, identifying key research questions and hypotheses is an important element of the research process that helps to clarify the specific goals and objectives of the study, guide the development of research methods, and ensure that the research is well structured and focused. Elements of research process: reviewing literature. Reviewing literature is a critical element of the research process, as it helps to identify and synthesize existing research and knowledge in the field. Here are some key elements to consider when reviewing literature. Identify the research question. Start by identifying the research question or problem that the study aims to address. This helps to focus the literature review on relevant research and knowledge. Identify relevant databases and sources. Identify relevant databases, journals, and other sources of information related to the research question. This may involve using keywords and search terms to identify relevant articles and sources. Conduct a systematic review. Conduct a systematic review of the literature, which involves identifying and evaluating all relevant research and knowledge related to the research question. This may involve reading and analyzing articles, books, and other sources of information. Synthesize the literature. Synthesize the literature by identifying common themes, patterns, and gaps in the research. This helps to identify areas where further research is needed, and to build on existing knowledge in the field. Evaluate the quality of the literature. Evaluate the quality of the literature by assessing the research methods, sample size, and validity of the studies. This helps to ensure that the research is based on high-quality evidence and knowledge. Use clear and concise language. Use clear and concise language to summarize and synthesize the literature, and to communicate the key findings and implications to readers. Overall, reviewing literature is an important element of the research process that helps to identify and synthesize existing research and knowledge in the field, and to build on this knowledge to advance the field through new research and insights. Elements of research process: using theory. Using theory is an important element of the research process, as it provides a framework for understanding and interpreting research findings. Here are some key elements to consider when using theory in research. Identify relevant theories. Start by identifying relevant theories that relate to the research question or problem. This may involve reviewing literature, consulting with experts in the field, or conducting a theoretical analysis. Develop hypotheses. Develop hypotheses based on the relevant theories, which can be tested through the research. Hypotheses should be clear, testable, and based on existing knowledge and research. Operationalize concepts. Operationalize concepts by defining them in a clear and measurable way. This helps to ensure that the research measures the concepts in a consistent and reliable way. Use theory to interpret findings. Use theory to interpret the research findings by examining how the findings relate to the relevant theories. This helps to explain the results and to identify any gaps or inconsistencies in the research. Extend or refine existing theories. Use the research findings to extend or refine existing theories. This helps to advance the field by building on existing knowledge and identifying new research questions and hypotheses. Use clear and concise language. Use clear and concise language to explain the relationship between the research and the relevant theories, and to communicate the key findings and implications to readers. Overall, using theory is an important element of the research process that provides a framework for understanding and interpreting research findings, and for advancing the field through new insights and knowledge. Elements of research process: defining, delimiting, and stating the significance of the study. Defining, delimiting, and stating the significance of the study are important elements of the research process, as they help to clarify the focus and scope of the research, and to communicate the importance of the study to readers. Here are some key elements to consider when defining, delimiting, and stating the significance of the study. Define the research problem. Start by defining the research problem or question that the study aims to address. This helps to clarify the focus and scope of the research, and to identify the key concepts and variables that will be studied. Delimit the study. Delimit the study by defining the boundaries and limitations of the research. This may involve specifying the population or sample, the time period, or the geographical location of the study. State the significance of the study. State the significance of the study by explaining why the research is important and relevant to the field. This may involve identifying gaps in the existing research, or highlighting the practical or theoretical implications of the research. Establish the research objectives. Establish the research objectives or goals of the study, which should be specific, measurable, and achievable. This helps to guide the research process and to ensure that the research objectives are met. Use clear and concise language. Use clear and concise language to communicate the focus, scope, and significance of the study to readers. This helps to ensure that readers understand the purpose and importance of the research, and to engage them in the research process. Overall, defining, delimiting, and stating the significance of the study are important elements of the research process that help to clarify the focus and scope of the research, and to communicate the importance of the study to readers. Elements of research process: advanced methods and procedures for data collection and analysis. The advanced methods and procedures for data collection and analysis are crucial elements of the research process that help to ensure the accuracy, reliability, and validity of the research findings. Here are some key elements to consider when using advanced methods and procedures for data collection and analysis. Select appropriate data collection methods. Depending on the research questions and objectives, there are various data collection methods that can be used, such as surveys, interviews, observations, and experiments. It is important to select the most appropriate method for the research. Develop a data collection plan. Develop a plan for data collection that outlines the procedures, instruments, and protocols to be used. This helps to ensure that the data collection is systematic, consistent, and accurate. Ensure data quality. To ensure the quality of the data, it is important to use standardized instruments, to train data collectors, to conduct quality control checks, and to document the data collection process. Analyze data using appropriate statistical methods, depending on the research questions and objectives. There are various statistical methods that can be used to analyze the data, such as descriptive statistics, inferential statistics, and multivariate analysis. It is important to select the most appropriate method for the research. Validate findings. To validate the findings, it is important to use multiple methods of data collection and analysis, to compare the results with existing research, and to conduct sensitivity analysis to assess the robustness of the findings. Overall, using advanced methods and procedures for data collection and analysis is a crucial element of the research process that helps to ensure the accuracy, reliability, and validity of the research findings. It is important to carefully select the appropriate methods and procedures for the research, and to document the data collection and analysis process to ensure transparency and reproducibility of the findings. Elements of research process using research samples including research in the domain of built environment. The research process using research samples in the domain of built environment involves several elements that are similar to those of other fields of study. However, some unique considerations must be taken into account due to the complexity and interdependence of the built environment. Here are some key elements to consider when using research samples in the domain of built environment. Identify the research problem. This involves identifying a problem or gap in knowledge related to the built environment that needs to be addressed. For example, this could be related to sustainability, urban planning, or energy efficiency. Develop a research question and hypotheses. This involves developing a clear research question that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, smart, and developing hypotheses that can be tested to answer the research question. Choose the appropriate research method. This involves selecting the appropriate research method, such as surveys, interviews, observations, or experiments, based on the research question and hypotheses. Determine the sample size and selection method. This involves determining the appropriate sample size and selection method, such as random sampling, stratified sampling, or convenience sampling, based on the research question and the characteristics of the built environment being studied. Collect and analyze data. This involves collecting data using appropriate data collection methods and analyzing the data using appropriate statistical methods. In the domain of built environment research, this may involve using geographic information systems, GIS, and other specialized software to collect and analyze data. Interpret and present results. This involves interpreting the results of the data analysis and presenting the findings in a clear and concise manner. In the domain of built environment research, this may involve using visualizations, such as maps or diagrams, to present the findings. Discuss implications and limitations. This involves discussing the implications of the research findings for the built environment and any limitations of the study, such as sample size or data quality. Overall, the research process using research samples in the domain of built environment involves careful consideration of the unique characteristics and complexities of the built environment. It is important to select appropriate research methods, sample sizes, and selection methods, and to collect and analyze data using specialized tools and software. By following these steps, researchers can produce meaningful and relevant findings that contribute to the knowledge and understanding of the built environment. Research report writing in general and its components. Research report writing is a formalized process of documenting the research process and findings in a clear and concise manner. It is essential to communicate the research process and results effectively to other researchers, stakeholders, and the general public. A well-written research report provides a structured and organized overview of the research process, results, and conclusions. Here are the components of a research report. Title page. The title page includes the title of the research report, the name of the author, the date of submission, and the name of the institution. Abstract. The abstract is a brief summary of the research report that provides an overview of the research question, methodology, results, and conclusions. Table of contents. The table of contents lists the main sections and subsections of the research report. Introduction. The introduction provides an overview of the research problem, the research question, and the significance of the study. It also provides a brief review of relevant literature and research gaps that the study aims to fill. Literature review. The literature review provides a detailed and critical analysis of the existing literature relevant to the research problem. It identifies research gaps, inconsistencies, and areas for further investigation. Methodology. The methodology section describes the research design, the sample selection process, the data collection methods, and the data analysis techniques used in the study. Results. The results section presents the findings of the research in a clear and concise manner. It includes tables, charts, graphs, and other visual aids to present the data. Discussion. The discussion section interprets the results in the context of the research question and objectives. It provides an explanation of the significance of the findings and how they contribute to the existing literature. Conclusion. The conclusion summarizes the main findings of the research and highlights their implications for future research. References. The references section lists all the sources cited in the research report in a specific format. Appendices. The appendices section includes additional information, such as raw data, survey instruments, and interview transcripts that were used in the research process. Overall, a well-written research report should be clear, concise, and structured in a logical and organized manner. The report should provide a detailed and accurate account of the research process and findings, and it should be written in a way that is accessible to a broad audience. Report writing. Developing the outline. Developing an outline is an important step in the report writing process. It helps you to organize your thoughts and ideas in a logical and coherent manner. A good outline serves as a guide for your writing, and it makes it easier to write a clear and concise report. Here are some steps to follow in developing an outline for your report. Identify the main sections of your report. The first step in developing an outline is to identify the main sections of your report. Typically, these sections include the introduction, literature review, methodology, results, discussion, conclusion, and references. Divide each section into subsections. Once you have identified the main sections of your report, divide each section into subsections. For example, in the introduction section, you may have subsections for background information, research question, and significance of the study. Decide on the order of your sections and subsections. Decide on the order of your sections and subsections based on the logical flow of your report. Typically, the introduction comes first, followed by the literature review, methodology, results, discussion, conclusion, and references. Use headings and subheadings. Use headings and subheadings to organize your sections and subsections. This will make it easier for your readers to follow your report and locate specific information. Write a brief summary of each section. Write a brief summary of each section to help you remember what you want to cover in each section. This will also help you to ensure that you have included all the necessary information in your report. Revise and refine your outline. Revise and refine your outline as needed. This is an iterative process, and you may need to revise your outline several times before you are satisfied with it. Overall, developing an outline is an important step in report writing. It helps you to organize your thoughts and ideas in a logical and coherent manner, and it serves as a guide for your writing. With a well-developed outline, you can write a clear and concise report that effectively communicates your research findings. Report writing referencing. Referencing is an important aspect of report writing as it helps you to acknowledge the sources of information that you have used in your report. Referencing is important for several reasons. It gives credit to the original authors. Referencing allows you to give credit to the original authors of the information you have used in your report. This is important as it acknowledges the hard work of the authors and avoids plagiarism. It provides evidence to support your arguments. Referencing provides evidence to support your arguments and demonstrates that your report is based on reliable sources of information. It helps readers to locate the original source of information. Referencing allows readers to locate the original source of information that you have used in your report. This is important if they want to read more about a particular topic or check the accuracy of the information you have presented. When it comes to referencing, there are several referencing styles that you can use such as APA, MLA, Harvard, and Chicago. The specific style that you use will depend on the guidelines provided by your institution or supervisor. Here are some general tips for referencing in your report. Cite all sources that you have used. It is important to cite all sources of information that you have used in your report, including books, journals, websites, and other sources. Use in-text citations. In-text citations are used to acknowledge the sources of information within the body of your report. They typically include the author's name and the year of publication. Include a reference list. A reference list is a list of all the sources of information that you have used in your report. It should be placed at the end of your report and should include all the information needed to locate the original source of information. Follow the specific referencing style. Make sure you follow the specific referencing style that you have been asked to use. This includes the formatting of in-text citations, reference lists, and other elements. Overall, referencing is an important aspect of report writing that allows you to acknowledge the sources of information that you have used in your report. By following the specific referencing style and citing all sources used, you can ensure that your report is well researched and based on reliable sources of information. Research writing. Writing the bibliography. In research writing, the bibliography is a list of all the sources of information that you have consulted or cited in your report. The bibliography typically appears at the end of the report and should include all the sources that you have used, whether or not they were cited in the main text. Here are some tips for writing the bibliography. Format the bibliography correctly. The specific format of the bibliography will depend on the referencing style that you are using. Make sure you follow the correct formatting guidelines for the style you are using, such as APA, MLA, or Harvard. List sources in alphabetical order. Arrange the sources in the bibliography in alphabetical order by the author's last name. If there is no author, use the title of the source. Include all necessary information. The information you include in the bibliography will depend on the type of source you are citing. Generally, you will need to include the author's name, the title of the source, the publication date, the publisher or website, and the page numbers, if applicable. Check for accuracy. Before submitting your report, double-check the bibliography to ensure that all the information is accurate and complete. This includes checking for spelling mistakes, incorrect dates, and missing information. Use a citation tool. Using a citation tool can make it easier to create a bibliography that is correctly formatted and includes all the necessary information. There are many online citation tools available, such as Zotero, EndNote, and Mendeley. Overall, the bibliography is an important part of research writing that helps readers to locate and verify the sources of information used in the report. By following the correct formatting guidelines and including all necessary information, you can ensure that your bibliography is accurate and complete. Research writing presentation. When it comes to presenting research writing, it's important to consider your audience and the purpose of your presentation. Here are some tips to help you create a clear and effective presentation. Start with an introduction. Begin your presentation with a brief introduction that provides an overview of the topic and the main points you will be discussing. Use visuals. Visual aids such as slides, diagrams, and charts can help to illustrate your points and make your presentation more engaging. Be clear and concise. Avoid using jargon or technical language that your audience may not understand. Instead, use clear and concise language to explain your research and its implications. Use examples and case studies to help illustrate your research and its real-world applications. Engage your audience. Encourage audience participation by asking questions or prompting discussions. This can help to keep your audience engaged and interested in your presentation. Practice your presentation beforehand to ensure that you are comfortable with the material and can deliver it confidently. End with a summary. End your presentation with a summary of the main points you discussed and any conclusions or recommendations you have. Overall, effective research writing presentation involves clear communication, engaging visuals, and a focus on your audience's needs and interests. By following these tips, you can create a presentation that effectively communicates your research and its implications. Research writing in general and its components. Developing the outline, referencing, writing the bibliography, presentation, etc. Research writing involves a systematic and logical approach to collecting, analyzing, and presenting information in order to answer a specific research question or hypothesis. Here are the main components of research writing. Developing the outline. An outline is a roadmap of your research paper or project. It helps to organize your thoughts and ideas and ensure that your paper has a clear structure. Your outline should include an introduction, literature review, methodology, results, discussion, and conclusion. Referencing. Referencing is the process of citing sources used in your research. Proper referencing helps to give credit to the original author and also adds credibility to your work. The most commonly used referencing styles include APA, MLA, and Chicago. Writing the bibliography. A bibliography is a list of all the sources used in your research, including books, journals, websites, and other materials. It should be formatted according to the referencing style used in your paper. Presentation. Presenting your research involves communicating your findings to an audience in a clear and concise manner. It can be in the form of a written report, oral presentation, or poster presentation. Effective presentation skills involve engaging your audience, using visuals to illustrate your points, and providing a clear summary of your research. Other important components of research writing include Introduction. This section introduces the research question or problem and explains why it is important. It also outlines the purpose and scope of the research. Literature review. This section provides an overview of the relevant literature on the research topic. It summarizes the key findings and identifies gaps in the existing research. Methodology. This section outlines the research methods used to collect and analyze data. It should include a detailed description of the study design, data collection methods, and data analysis techniques. Results. This section presents the findings of the study in a clear and concise manner. It should be supported by data and include tables, figures, and other visuals to help illustrate the results. Discussion. This section discusses the implications of the findings and their significance. It should also address any limitations of the study and suggest areas for future research. In summary, Research writing involves a variety of components that work together to create a clear and concise report or presentation. By developing a clear outline, using proper referencing and writing the bibliography, presenting your findings effectively, and addressing all the necessary components of research writing, you can create a well-structured and informative research report. Case studies of competent research in architecture. Sure, here are some examples of competent research in architecture. The effects of built environment on mental health, a study of nursing homes. This study, published in the Journal of Environmental Psychology, used both qualitative and quantitative research methods to examine the impact of the built environment on the mental health of nursing home residents. The study concluded that design elements such as natural light, access to outdoor spaces, and private rooms can have a positive effect on residents' mental health. A study of vernacular architecture. This study, published in the Journal of Architectural and Planning Research, focused on the traditional building styles of a specific region and their adaptability to modern needs. The study used both historical research and field observations to analyze the vernacular architecture of the region and make recommendations for future design. Sustainable architecture, a study of green building practices. This study, published in the Journal of Green Building, investigated the use of sustainable design practices in the construction of buildings. The study analyzed the energy and water consumption of green buildings compared to traditional buildings and identified best practices for sustainable design. The impact of building information modeling (BIM) on construction projects. This study, published in the International Journal of Project Management, examined the use of building information modeling (BIM) in construction projects. The study used interviews with construction professionals and a review of case studies to identify the benefits and challenges of using BIM and provide recommendations for its implementation. A study of user preferences in office design. This study, published in the Journal of Interior Design, used a survey to examine user preferences in office design. The study found that elements such as access to natural light, comfortable seating, and a sense of privacy were important to employees' satisfaction with their workspace. These case studies demonstrate the range of topics and research methods used in architectural research and highlight the importance of conducting competent research to inform design decisions. Case studies of competent research, from project inception to completion with a focus on research in the domain of built environment. Sure, here are a few case studies of competent research in the domain of built environment, from project inception to completion. The impact of urban form on energy performance of buildings, a case study of the traditional and modern neighborhoods in Cyprus by N. Kaloxelos, C. Florids, and D. Haralambous, 2019. This research project explores the impact of urban form on energy performance in the built environment in Cyprus. The study involved data collection and analysis from two different neighborhoods, a traditional and modern neighborhood, and compared the energy performance of the buildings in both areas. The project followed a rigorous research methodology, including literature review, data collection, and analysis using statistical techniques. The results of the study provide valuable insights into the relationship between urban form and energy performance, which can be used to inform policy decisions in urban planning and design. Sustainable architecture and passive design strategies, a case study of the COF Smart Center by A. Kotarian and S. Vardhanyan, 2018. This research project examines the sustainable architecture and passive design strategies employed in the COF Smart Center, a building complex in Armenia. The study involved data collection and analysis of the building's design and performance, including its energy use, indoor air quality, and thermal comfort. The project followed a comprehensive research methodology, including literature review, field measurements, and simulation modeling. The results of the study demonstrate the effectiveness of passive design strategies in reducing energy consumption and improving indoor environmental quality in buildings. The impact of urban design on pedestrian behavior. A case study of the city center in Tehran by M. Mirzai and M. Yegane, 2017. This research project investigates the impact of urban design on pedestrian behavior in the city center of Tehran, Iran. The study involved data collection and analysis of pedestrian behavior, including their movement patterns, social interactions, and perceptions of the built environment. The project followed a qualitative research methodology, including interviews and observations. The results of the study provide valuable insights into the relationship between urban design and pedestrian behavior, which can be used to inform urban planning and design decisions that promote sustainable and livable cities. Overall, these case studies demonstrate the importance of competent research in the domain of built environment, which can help inform policy decisions, improve building design and performance, and promote sustainable and livable cities. Case studies of competent research. Review of research publications. Here are some examples of research publications in the domain of built environment. Sustainable Urban Design and Climate, a study of the physical form of dense cities by Edward Ng, Chao Ren, and Ren Peng, published in the Journal of Green Building in 2014. The research explores the relationship between urban design and climate change in dense cities, focusing on the case study of Hong Kong. The impact of building orientation on energy consumption in office buildings by Sohail Alobedi, published in the International Journal of Sustainable Energy in 2016. The research investigates the effect of building orientation on energy consumption in office buildings, using computer simulations to analyze the energy performance of different orientations. Designing for Health, Architecture, Art and Design for a Healing Environment by Terry Petters and Marie-Claude Dubois, published in the Journal of Architecture and Planning Research in 2017. The research examines the impact of architectural and design features on health outcomes in healthcare environments, drawing on case studies from around the world. Mapping Spatial Inequalities, the Role of GIS in Urban Planning and Policy by Anthony Ye and Xai Li, published in the Journal of Planning Literature in 2019. The research analyzes the use of GIS technology in urban planning and policy, focusing on its potential to identify and address spatial inequalities in cities. These publications demonstrate competent research in the domain of built environment by addressing important issues, utilizing appropriate research methods, and presenting clear and insightful findings. Skill to identify, decipher, and interpret issues relating to architecture based on research inquiry methods. Identifying, deciphering, and interpreting issues relating to architecture based on research inquiry methods requires several skills. Here are some skills that are important for this task. Critical thinking, the ability to analyze and evaluate information and arguments, is crucial when interpreting issues relating to architecture. This skill helps researchers to identify assumptions, evaluate evidence, and form reasoned judgments. Research skills. Conducting research is an important part of deciphering and interpreting issues relating to architecture. Researchers need to be able to identify relevant sources of information, collect and analyze data, and draw meaningful conclusions. Communication skills. The ability to communicate research findings clearly and effectively is essential for interpreting issues relating to architecture. Researchers need to be able to present their findings in a way that is understandable to a variety of audiences, including architects, policymakers, and the general public. Interdisciplinary knowledge. Issues relating to architecture often intersect with other disciplines, such as engineering, urban planning, and social sciences. Having a broad understanding of these fields can help researchers to better interpret and address complex issues. Technical skills. Many research methods used in architecture require technical skills, such as using computer software for modeling or analysis. Researchers need to be able to use these tools effectively to collect and analyze data. By developing these skills, researchers can more effectively identify, decipher, and interpret issues relating to architecture based on research inquiry methods. Knowledge of different methods of conducting research and research writing. Having knowledge of different methods of conducting research and research writing is essential for conducting high-quality research and producing well-written research reports. Here are some of the key methods of conducting research and research writing. Qualitative research. This type of research involves collecting and analyzing non-numerical data, such as interviews, observations, and case studies. Qualitative research is useful for exploring complex social phenomena and understanding the perspectives and experiences of individuals and groups. Quantitative research. This type of research involves collecting and analyzing numerical data using statistical methods. Quantitative research is useful for testing hypotheses and identifying patterns and relationships between variables. Mixed methods research. This type of research combines both qualitative and quantitative research methods to provide a more comprehensive understanding of a research question or problem. Case studies. This method involves conducting an in-depth investigation of a particular phenomenon, such as a building or an urban area. Case studies are useful for understanding complex issues and can provide insights into the design, construction, and use of buildings and other structures. Literature reviews. This method involves reviewing and synthesizing existing research on a particular topic. Literature reviews are useful for identifying gaps in knowledge and understanding the current state of research on a topic. Experimental research. This type of research involves manipulating one or more variables and measuring their effects on an outcome. Experimental research is useful for testing causal relationships between variables. When it comes to research writing, there are several key components, including Introduction. This section provides background information on the research question or problem and sets the stage for the research report. Analysis. Researchers need to be able to use these tools effectively to collect and analyze data. Literature review. This section summarizes and synthesizes existing research on the topic. Methodology. This section describes the research methods used to collect and analyze data. Results. This section presents the findings of the research. Discussion. This section interprets the findings and discusses their implications for future research and practice. Conclusion. This section summarizes the main findings and conclusions of the research. By having knowledge of different methods of conducting research and research writing, researchers can select the most appropriate methods for their research question and produce high-quality research reports that contribute to the field of architecture. Familiarity with specific research related to built environment. Familiarity with specific research related to the built environment requires an understanding of the unique challenges and opportunities presented by this field. Research in the built environment covers a wide range of topics, including urban design, architecture, construction technology, sustainability, and historic preservation, among others. It is essential to have a strong foundation in the principles of architecture and urban planning to conduct research in this field effectively. One important aspect of research in the built environment is the use of advanced technology and modeling techniques. This includes the use of building information modeling, BIM, geographic information systems, GIS, and simulation software to analyze and visualize building designs, energy consumption patterns, and environmental impacts. Another critical aspect of research in the built environment is the consideration of social and cultural factors. This includes examining the ways in which buildings and urban spaces affect the people who use them and the communities in which they are located. Research in this area may involve conducting surveys, interviews, or focus groups to gather data on user preferences, behavior, and needs. Finally, research in the built environment often involves collaboration across disciplines and with stakeholders such as architects, engineers, contractors, and community members. Effective communication skills and the ability to work as part of a team are essential for success in this field.